Dear audience, on the platform of STRATLOG, we are going to discuss regional and global international affairs, entrepreneurship in politics, defense, leadership, and all other relevant issues on what you have severe interest. So, in our today's podcast, we have invited Brigadier General retired Shamim Kamal. He is an expert on global affairs, geopolitics, and defense studies. He is now leading the new political party in Bangladesh, Janotar Dol, as the chairman of the party. Welcome, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much.
Sir, today we are going to discuss on the very contemporary issue, which is Iran versus Israel and US. So in this issue, on the very outset, we are going to ask you the very prominent and burning question that very recently, over 200 times, Israel has striked Iran, crossing international boundary all the way from Israel, and they have tried to demolish and destroy the nuclear capacity of Iran, which was of course followed by, again, by USA. They have also targeted another 3 nuclear facilities, including Fordo and Natanz, where they have tried to totally eliminate the nuclear capacity of Iran. However, Iran has also showed a volley of ballistics and tried to retaliate accordingly. But our audience are inquisitive to learn from you, what is the genesis of this fiat?
Thank you very much, Dilesh Khan. I also thank you for inviting me in the maiden show of STRATLOG from Janotar Dol. This is very relevant to discuss the issue, the contemporary issue of Israel-Iran war. And there are a lot of takeaways for us to get it from this war, the recent war. First of all, if you ask about the genesis, we must know the genesis. Then we can also relate a lot of contemporary issues. As you know, the Arab world was now volatile, and several times they fought. They were loggerheaded, and they fought a couple of wars. Now it starts with the Sky Picket Line, which was drawn in 1916 between Haifa of Israel and Kirkuk of Iraq. This line was drawn by Colonel Sykes from Great Britain and Peacock from France. So this Sky Picket Line, the northern side was given to France, and the southern part was given to the Great Britain. So that was the underneath understanding, and it was not disclosed to many. So after that, you know, that several Arab tribes, especially the Saud and Hashemites, they were promised by the Great Britain that they will be given a specific piece of land for permanent settlement, as it was given in the Pak subcontinent for the Khilafat movement, you know. So, the two tribes, especially the Saud and the Hashemites, the Sauds were given the place is present Saudi Arabia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and they named their country against their family name or the tribal name. And rest of the Arabs, especially the Hashemites, were given the place just on the bank of the river Jordan. And it was named as Transjordan. Transjordan was a country. It was sponsored by Great Britain, and all the tribes headed by Hashemites were given. So at the time, it was named as Transjordan. Transjordan means on the both sides of the Jordan River. So come to the story of 1948, when, as per the Balfour Declaration, Israelis, all the Jews across the world, they settled in Palestine, present Palestine, and immediate after that, the Arabs violently engaged into wars. So there are 4 wars: 1948, 1956, 1967, and 1973. So they fought all along against the Israelis, and all the time, everywhere, in every war, the Arabs were about to win, but finally the war was taken over by the US Air Force, and the result was in their favor.
Right.
So there was a safe conclusion that, in fact, the Arabs countries, the major countries, the neighbors of Israel, they came to a safe conclusion that they cannot win over Israel because of the direct intervention of United States. So since then, after 1973, the Camp David was the place where the agreement took place between the Arab countries and the Israelis. So after that, almost up to 1979, till the Khamenei came into power from exile
Islamic
in Iran.
revelation.
And so this conflict was taken over by the Iran and the Shia world. The Arab world is divided in two parts. 85% are Sunnis, and only 15% led by Shias. And the Shias world is controlled by Iran. So what happened from in the early 80s, when Iran took over the Shias world, and the conflict between Arab Israel transferred to Shias Muslims to the Sunni Muslims. So since then, it is continuing. The Hezbollah in Lebanon, then Houthis in Yemen, or even the allied family, they are also Shia, Bashar al-Assad and his family. So all these outfits, all these organizations, they fought against Israel as a proxy war. Mm-hmm. So this is the last follow of what we are learning today. The war we have seen between Iran and Israel, and of course also intervened or participated by United States. So that's the genesis of the Arab-Israel
Thank you very much, sir. Now we are trying to come to find an answer to a question that there are total 9 countries in this world right now, those who are having nuclear capability. Of course, 5 of them, the big 5 we say, they have acquired this capacity or capability before 1968, when the Proliferation Treaty was signed. But very amazingly, we know that there are 4 countries never signed this treaty. And those 4 countries include Pakistan, India, Israel, and of course, South Sudan. South Sudan is another country, though not that relevant. North Korea, what happened? They signed earlier. Then in 2003, they withdrawn from the treaty, and then they also become a nuclear power in the world. So right now, apart from those big 5, very interestingly, we can see that Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea is another 4 are having nuclear capacity or capability. Having said that, people often questions that in 50s, once Mossadegh was ousted by a coup staged by CIA named Operation Ajax, and followed by that, Shah Reza Pahlavi took over. And once Shah Reza Pahlavi took over, it was in fact USA indeed who offered to facilitate Iran with nuclear facility. And it started with a peaceful nuclear exploration project. However, right now we can see a global war where that USA is trying to eliminate the nuclear capacity Iran is trying to gain. But here people often ask that if 9 countries in the world can have this nuclear capacity and capability, what is the problem with Iran?
Okay, thank you very much. I think you said about the South Africa, right? Not South Sudan, who is in possession of some nuclear peacefully they are wanted to win. Okay, there is no harm that, Iran never said they are not engaged with the nuclear programs. But they said that their program is for peaceful engagement.
Yeah.
This Iranian nuclear project were launched and supported by United States first, as you said. Now, question is the Israel is all true. As the conflict between Iran, Arab, and Israel is initiated or taken over by the Shia countries, especially the led by Iran. So Israel had been complaining throughout that Iran is going to obtain the nuclear capability. Decided it's a breakout capability. And
Now, how it panics Israel having Iran nuclear capacity?
in fact, Israel is a country who is believed to have the nuclear capability.
Yeah.
De facto, as a de facto nuclear capable country, their name is always pronounced. They never said no, and again never said yes. Now, point is that, as I told you before in the answer to your last question, that basically the Arab-Israel war, it was led by Iran now. So Iran is the toughest enemy for Israel in his neighborhood. So that's why Israel is complaining that Iran is the country. Iran is not an Arab country, actually it's an Asian country. If you talk about the neighbors, Iran is not even neighbor to Israel. But as Iran is leading the anti-Israel or anti-Jews sentiment, that's why Israel is concerned about Iran's nuclear capability.
Okay.
So for Israel in a position, the discussion, there were 5 dialogues between the United States and Iran on this nuclear program, and the 6th one was scheduled in Qatar, and just 1 or 2 days before the dialogue, Israel struck on Iran. So that's the reason, and that was one of the objectives of Netanyahu to destroy the Iranian capability of nuclear, because Israel considers Iran is the most toughest enemy to her existence.
In this question and answer, a rational question pops up in our mind, is that why Israel is so important to West, to be very specific to USA and European countries?
Okay, especially Israel is very important to the United States because of IPAC. IPAC is the Jews lobby. It was established in 1953. IPAC stands for American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. So this is the lobby makes huge investment in the U.S. election. Whoever is going to participate in the Congress or House of Representatives. So there is a provision in all the members of the Senate and House of Representatives. They make a roll call, attending themselves in the Capitol Hill, putting their hands on Bible. They have to make promise that they will not work against Israel. So, and in lieu, this lobby, the IPAC, will bear the total expenditure of the election. So, U.S. election, the main principal funding comes from IPAC. So that's the obligation for United States. Let it be Democrats or let it be Republicans, whoever it is. Previously, IPAC is to finance party-wise, but now they go for individual. So anybody is coming and contesting in the Senate or the House of Representatives, they have to make this oath for the support of the election. If they don't do that, and this lobby will not finance them, and this is a huge contribution in U.S. elections. So that's the reason why the Americans, especially the United States, I don't talk about the other Western countries, even European Union, they don't have much interest. Even some of the countries like Spain has condemned Netanyahu's this war, and many of the countries, European countries, NATO countries also condemn Netanyahu. But it is the United States, not only this time. I told you that before all the 4 wars, the United States directly participated with Israel.
Thank you, sir. We are very briefly, we are going to touch upon the belligerent ratio of these fighting forces. Before we are going to ask you the question that what is the outcome right now. So as we can see that there was a disparity or differences in the belligerent ratio. One is having highly sophisticated, able to deceive any radar system in the world, that kind of stealth technology aircrafts. And in other hand, we can see Iran has developed such excellent missile systems through which they are trying to batter Tel Aviv for the first time in the known history, perhaps. So I'm going to ask you the question and requesting you to briefly touch upon the different type of military technological modernization and development in the camp of Iran and US Israel.
If you talk about the orbit, the ratio, the combat ratio, it is not always that what we see in the the different open sources, that what is the military power of which country. It doesn't go like this. If you talk about the technology, the advancement in technology or weapon system, Israel stands much more in a superior position than that of Iran. The first and foremost thing is that you see the attack carried out by Israeli Air Force. It is capable of attacking a few thousand miles away or a few thousand kilometers away from Israel. They strike in Iran, and they have used the aircraft like F-35, the fifth generation Air Force, very powerful aircraft they have used. And they have used this aircraft with air-to-air refueling, which Iran doesn't have. Now, you see if you talk about the air power, and I don't think Iran has got Su-24, which is inferior, much more inferior to F-35. So if you talk about the air power, Israel is much more superior. And
almost air supremacy.
Yes, this is almost air supremacy, because you see that the ratio of casualty, where the Iran had only, Israel had only 28 to 30 casualties dead, whereas it's 700 or 800 in Iran.
Yeah.
And you see the technological advancement. Israel has killed very, very important key personnel of the military. And the nuclear scientists, 12 nuclear scientists were killed. And the military, the very iconic military leaders were killed, including the Chief Army Staff and the Republican Guard commander. And so all these, they were hit in pinpoint. Even the bedroom they could identify, and they killed. You see, on the contrary, the Iranian ballistics, the missiles or drones, it hit in a random area. It is not of military significance. So from that, you can very well judge that the weaponry superiority, air superiority, and the advanced military technology, Israel has got a very high edge over Iran. But at the end, when United States came into the scene, the story was in a different shape.
How do you feel having Iron Dome, Arrow, then David Sling, then having not less than 8 permanent bases by US in 8 countries around Israel, and then for United Arab Emirates, the air defense is provided by USA. There are bases in Syria, Iraq, and Jordan. Irani ballistic missiles traveling such a long distance, and most of those are dropped or destroyed on the way by US and Israel attempts. So having so much limitations, at last in this war, we could see that the missile technological advancement by Iran has at last could batter some part of Tel Aviv and Haifa. So how do you give credit to the missile and drone technology of Iran against the sophisticated technological military advancement of its belligerent?
Oh yes, the first and foremost thing, the Iran may be credited for one thing, that they could breach the myth of Israel, the air defense system. the Iron Dome and all this. So there was a prevailing mythology that nothing can break this. So Israel did it, Iran did it. So this is the tremendous success on Iranian part, and more so the capability flying a few thousand miles or kilometers, and so many drones, missiles hit, and at one stage that became very tough for the Israelis to accept that, and they had been crying. The general mass had been shouting, crying, and chanting slogans that Iran stop it. So that panic they could make Iran. So Iran must be credited for that. Now the important question that you can ask that this is a very dramatic end of this war. So every side claiming that they own the battle. Actually, they have every side has got their own story, narratives of success. Now, to my understanding, militarily, what I can say that this was operational success of Israel, but it's a strategic defeat for Israel.
Fantastic.
And in fact, to my understanding, you see, if you consider that, in a militarily, what we discuss about the center of gravity. So there are some decision points, DP.
Exactly.
You got to unlock these DPs and reach to center of gravity. Now, if you consider if we just analyze the Israel-Iran war, the Israel, what objectives they might have? First of all, changing the regime. Secondly, destroying of the nuclear capability. Third is the destruction of their armed forces like Republican Guard and those issues. And fourth is that destruction of the proxy organizations like Hezbollah, Houthi, and all these.
None achieved.
If you look into all these, even with the participation of the United States bombing, bunker buster bombing on the Fordo, they could not achieve any one of these four objectives.
Exactly.
So in that case, it's Iran which has got strategic victory, and it is Israel which has got strategic defeat. So that's the simple complication.
Exactly.
Operationally, you may call that yes, they have some success, but strategically, Iran won the battle.
Thank you very much, sir. As you said, none of the strategic goals could be achieved by US-Israel allies. But however, we have seen the boasting and rhetorics from President Trump. Of course, he has all the reasons to do that. He likes to do it more on the Twitter and Truth Social. But we are really inquisitive to know that how expensive it was for USA to go for such show-off, if you can say.
Okay, thank you very much. It is a very interesting question that present warfare. This is the application of the highest military technological advancement what United States displayed, especially when when it attacked Fordo. Now you see the total story. The Trump was always very unpredictable, and he was displaying the things and the serious issues, something very very childish way. I often call him Mohammed bin Tughlaq of present era. Anyway, so he returned from the G7 a little early, and he had been making a lot of swimming rumors what he is going to do. Nobody knows it.
1 week
Finally, ultimatum given 2 weeks, and at the end of 1 week, he just carried on this operation. Now, this operation was named as Midnight Hammer, right?
Right.
And here, the Fordo, the intelligence said that the Fordo had the uranium deposit around 60 to 70 meters beneath under the earth. And this is only B-2 stealth aircraft. It has got capability of bursting on the bunker busters, the munitions. So for this operation, they used 125 aircrafts. Very modern aircrafts, and it flew all through from Missouri to Guam, to Pacific, and then it came to hit in Fordo and went back. That was 37 hours continuous flight. And they used the decoy, the munitions, some of the munitions, and they targeted they dropped the bomb, the shell, from 12 kilometers
There is a standoff.
above the ground, yes. And they could totally deceive the Iranian air defense system. In fact, Iranian air defense is not that capable to identify the targets so up, so above. So what they did, they sent the other military aircrafts previously and found that the Iranian air defense could not identify them. Then the B-2 stealth aircraft went. So it was first the bombs were dropped and it had sometimes free fall. Then after 5 kilometers it was guided, okay, and it was then dropped on the Fordo or on the side of Fordo. So and again they went back. So this was total 37 hours flight. And this B-2 stealth aircraft at one go can fly for hours together. So that it had the capability. Now, question is that people are criticizing this, that there was no damage of the nuclear uranium, especially if there has been then international atomic
no radiation
agency, no radiation is there. So we can very simply say that even Iran also said that they have shifted. So there is now something cat and mouse game in between. I think it was a war of understanding. So United States may have been given early information to Iran, and New York Post, I think they published a picture showing that some of the tracks are carrying something from Fordo area to somewhere else.
Okay.
So this might be one of the maybe theory of conspiracy, or we call it anything, that this might be one of the early indication that has been given, because as a retaliation, because it has got sequels. In a retaliation, when Iran attacked Qatar, the biggest air base of United States in Middle East. So that information also possibly given to Qatar before. So there is no damage, nothing happened, and Iran said that Qatar is our friendly country. So all these things happen in a deep understanding. It may not be, we are not very clear, but there's something very managed, arranged thing happened. And the harsh critic is that it is around, I think, expenditure around $2 billion in this single operation.
All is well.
And is it the $2 billion operation work was carried out only to make 2 holes in Ford? So that's the harsh critic we have. So that's the point of understanding. You know, the peace code or the ceasefire is still underway. But there's the big question that is Iran going to stop its nuclear program as it had decided before? Is the war on Gaza is going to be stopped? Is the Hezbollah rockets going to stop bombing or shelling in Israel? So these are the major questions still.
But this is the question very much pertinent to the topic we are discussing today, is that during Biden administration, Antony Blinken, he said, if I may quote, that Iran is 1 or 2 weeks away from having 8 to 10 nuclear warhead, because the preparation and the uranium, size of the uranium they have and the development they did. So many tries to speculate, or some conspiracy theorists says that Iran already have nuclear warheads. Do you believe in that? Or if I may add the question, that some also claim that the Iranian preparation of having nuclear bombs is delayed by another 1 to 2 years. Your comment on that?
Well, this is speculation. The first and foremost thing, what I understand, that if some country has got nuclear capability, it is likely to make its own test, as North Korea very often does it, right? So as Iran did not do this kind of test as of now, we can't call it a nuclear capable country. Although Iran has been always telling that they have nuclear project and it is for peaceful engagement. Now the Western media and other sources are telling that they are in a backout capability. So unless they make a confirmation of testing its nuclear test. We cannot say it, but it is quite understandable. Iran has got that kind of uranium deposit. With that, it is possible to make some sort of atomic bombs and nuclear weapons. So we just cannot just leave it unattended. That we cannot tell it that yes, or we can tell it no.
So the story is not yet ended yet.
Yes, it's not clear. We are now focusing on the ceasefire. Now you see that in open media or open sources are telling that USA is ready with a huge bounties and goodies for Iran. Like US interested to offer $30 billion, then lift the sanction and allowing Iran to continue its peaceful engagement in nuclear projects. So these are the packages that are coming up.
We can also see that regarding the ceasefire and also to start the talk regarding nuclear, the Iran side naturally is not very much interested right now. Over the period of time, Iran has fought alone in the Middle East, and most of the time the Arab countries, as you have already said, few of the reasons could not support Iran the way USA supports Israel. So sometimes people wants to say that there are two reasons. One, you have already said, there are Shia and Sunni dividation. Since Iran helps Houthis to fight against Saudi Arabia, so Saudi Arabia has got all the reason not to be a good friend of Iran. Again, people also wants to say that the dollarization and petrodollar politics is also having some impact on that. Iran has developed various trump cards in her hand. One of those are Hormuz. If you please highlight how Hormuz can be leveraged by Iran in support of her existence and victory.
Oh, it's a huge affair. Hormuz, the Hormuz is the most critical track or the channel in the world, in the globe, which is the geopolitical flashpoint actually. And Iran has got quite dominant on Hormuz. The narrowest width is only 34 kilometers. So Hormuz is the channel through which 1/5 of the energy is transported.
LNG and also crude oil.
Yeah, it is LNG, then your crude oil, whatever you call. And countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Bahrain, all of these countries, especially the GCC countries, are largely dependent on Hormuz for this. And if you talk about there are three channels, water channels like Hormuz, Bab el-Mandeb, and Suez. That transports these channels transport almost half of the world energy. So this is so important. Now, if this is blocked, and Iran has got the capacity to block this, if it block it, then this is also some sort of suicidal for Iran, because Iran also highly dependent on its export of its natural gas and crude oil. In crude oil, Iran's position is 9th, and natural gas it is 3rd in the world. And the most dependent country on Iran is China. So China, India, South Korea, these are the countries are blindly dependent on Iran. So if Iran make this blockade, then all these tankers has to take a detour through the Red Sea. And again, on the mouth of the Red Sea, there is Yemen, and Houthis can also intervene. So after that, if you want to take a huge turn through Europe, then Africa, and Cape of Good Hope, this is the huge turnabout.
Exactly.
Now, only just you see that
across the entire Atlantic and
it's a huge turn. So that is impossible. If only for this tension, the transportation was reduced to 27%, just a few days, within a few days. And there are some collided the accidents between the tankers. So that has got a huge impact. And if Iran would have been gone, there would be, the trade war. And it would affect every country, almost every country of the world.
Allah
And
is kind that this time
yes,
it has
yes.
not
So
happened.
that was a tremendous, and that was, if this would have been happened, then world would have been really find very much difficulties.
Sir, regarding the outcome of the war, for now, we are witnessing a ceasefire. But as a military analyst and a military strategist, how do you see this fear between Iran and Israel? Is it a full-scale war to your definition?
Not actually. You see, Murphy's has a law that the battle is always with the neighboring maps or neighboring countries. But here we can see that now the wars are, not necessarily it is within the neighbors or within the map. So, if you look in the last battle, last war, the conflict between India and Pakistan, also Israel and Iran, this is basically air battle. So, we don't call it a full spectrum of war unless there is a ground offensive. So, that was a serious issue in Iran. And the United States was very careful of launching a ground offensive here. The geopolitical location or the geography of Iran is very peculiar. It is one of the toughest defending country in the world.
Exactly.
Because you see, they have a very popular bread known as naan barbari. It is like pizza. So enter Iran from the north to east, enter side, north to west, enter side is covered by Zagros Hill, right? And where Zagros ends, then Elbrus starts. So almost 3/4 of entire Iran is circled by a high mountains. Okay. Then when the mountain ends, then starts desert.
Deserts.
Is desert like Kavir Desert, then Lud Desert. So Kavir Desert is 800 kilometers by 300 kilometers. You understand? So United States has taken a lesson from Iraq War II in 2003, right? And Colin Powell was at that time the Secretary of
Foreign Secretary.
I think Secretary of States. He rightly advised Bush that it will not be easy to go for a war with Iraq. If you remember, there was that was I think left hook. Schwarzkopf led the left hook, and immediate after the operation there was desert storm. So huge desert storm, and it was Iraq. That's why it was possible. Now, Iran is a country, and they have the legacy of 4,000 years, where none of the world power could, capture Iran. First of all, I think it is Alexander the Great. It is 313 BC. Then Toimulon, then Turks, then British, Russians, who not, even Greeks. So all these world powers were defeated in Iran. And Colin Powell said to Bush at that time that we may have limited success by air, but unless the infantry boot on ground, we cannot have ultimate victory. So here also, United States thought that it is only possible we call it a full-scale war when the infantry, the ground offensive is launched. And if you talk about the ground offensive, it is only Pakistan border through which United States could have been launched itself. And as I understand that invitation of Pakistan Chief of Army Staff, General Hashim Munir, to White House, this would have been one of the agenda that should there be any ground offensive, that is maybe United States wanted to use the Pakistan's land. So I think that was Pakistan did not agree, or they have given up this idea because it is very difficult to launch ground offensive in Iran. That is why they have to shelve their idea and complete this war, and forcing all the parties to go for the ceasefire by just engaging in further.
So, if we see the global perspective of the war, where if you were to see who is whose ally, so here we as public were expecting more vibrant alliance from Iran for Iran from Russia and China. Do you feel that it was adequate for Iran from support point of view from Russia and China?
Well, I don't think, because you know that last war display what we saw that none of the countries we mentioned they are beside Iran. Even the Arab countries, none of the Arab countries also beside Iran. The reason is very simple, because nowadays every country has got their own interests. Like Qatar, Qatar export $100 billion or only LNG. So they have got much more interest,
Business
in
interest.
business.
Exactly.
So if we talk about, yes, the moral support, the tacit support, the Russia, China, they provided and they said, they spoke. This is a very phenomenon and very formal issues. But actually, none of the countries were beside Iran. This was beside Iran.
Technically, Bangladesh is also a country which is not in a better position than Iran from friendship point of view, because we had a faulty foreign policy where we wanted to make everyone happy, like an ice cream seller. But then we forgot that alliance should be on the basis of interest. So, this scenario from the Iran crisis, what Bangladesh has got to learn from it, and also what precautions Bangladesh should take.
Thank you very much. From Bangladesh point of view, Bangladesh did not make any other statement or stance other than solving the issue diplomatically. So this is a very feeble stance diplomatically, no doubt in it. But again, we are entangled with a lot of internal issues, the election corridor, and many issues. So it is not also prudent to make a firm stance with any one of the warring parties. But what is important for Bangladesh to take up is a lot of lessons. These are very important lessons. First of all, not only this Iran-Israel war, we should also think about the Pakistan-India last conflict, what happened. We should be very careful about our air defense. You see, it's a country, Bangladesh is a country that from its border, it takes only 4 to 6 minutes time to reach in capital and go back, right? So, what we have in our air defense? That's a huge question. The political parties which were in the power in Bangladesh, in fact, they bluffed the international. And as a student of the world studies, I'm really scared. I'm afraid of that what we have. So this should be an eye-opening issue. That from there we must learn that how should make our defense, air defense and other security arrangements. So here, one thing I can very straightforward tell you, that we need to achieve the deterrence capability. Deterrence, military deterrence I'm talking about. Deterrence is a course of action, adoption of which will abstain your enemy to take its own course of action. You see the Rohingya issue, now presently the pushing is going on. So Bangladesh has become a dumping place of all the illegal citizens.
Global garbages.
Global dumping, human dumping place. Because of what? Because we don't have the deterrence. If it would have been deterrence, then Myanmar would have been thought twice to push in this 1.2 million Rohingyas in Bangladesh. So their status is now the stateless. They are not refugee or they are not IDP. Again, the push-in is everybody's business nowadays. So all these things are happening because all the neighbors who are doing this, they know it that we cannot retaliate. We cannot give prompt answer. So that's why it is happening. So this is very important. We must think about our air defense or air capability. We must develop military deterrence, and we must also think other deterrence like commercial deterrence, economic deterrence, and other issues. So collectively, we have to fight. So this is a point. We should review seriously our defense policy, our security policy, our armament system, our technology. You see, as of now, we can take a lesson from Peruvian Air Force. Peru Air Force is now recently they are going for grounding their old version of aircrafts like Mirage, MiG-21, and all this. And now, what I feel very point blank range, if you ask me, that Bangladesh should have some sort of fifth generation aircraft. Like Dozen Rafale or F-16, F-18 or Su-35, something like that. This kind of aircraft. If you have a one squadron of multi-role combat aircraft, I think that will cause a lot of difference. So these are the issues I think we should think very seriously now for our future sovereignty.
Now, we second you, and nowadays, if we follow the discussion and discourses in the social media and mainstream media, that our intellectuals have reiterated the need for a greater and deterrent armed forces for our country, especially once we want to believe that we can sustain and survive as a sovereign, independent nation, and in ensuring such, of course, the suggestions you have given, we are hopeful that our policymakers are going to pay due heed to the suggestions you have given, because right now Bangladesh is still struggling to find their right friends, right kind of armaments, and a right kind of defense strategy, because there is a void. So far, there is no solid national security and defense strategy in hand. So thank you very much, sir, for your very articulated sharing of huge knowledge, and your experiences also helped us to understand the issue better. So, audience, we are going to bid farewell to Brigadier General retired Shamim Kamal for his kind and gracious presence here in this platform, which we call STRATLOG. In our next episode, of course, we are going to have a new topic and also a new guest for us, who is going to enrich us, enlighten us with a new dimension and facets of global issues and global affairs. For today, thank you very much. Good night. Assalamu alaikum. Allah Hafiz. Thank you, sir.